that I felt that we started kind of dropping closer towards our penalty box. But I think you're worried if your goalkeeper's having to pull off saves left, right and centre and there's last-ditch defending. I didn't really feel that was there. Wanted us to play that wee bit higher and go and try and meet St Johnstone higher up, but probably again for the last, 6, 7, 8 minutes is probably the time, and you would expect them to throw the kitchen sink at us. So, I felt we were fairly comfortable. I thought we were really comfortable at 2-0. Obviously, the nervous energy comes when it goes, the deficit's only 1 off the back of the penalty. But we did carve out a lot of good chances in there as well. Tony Watt, Davor, Tom Sparrow makes a beautiful run and probably has a wee bit more time than he expected. So, I thought it was a deserving 3 points for us.
What about the 2 VAR checks in the second half? The handball against Angie and then the goal that wasn't?
I've seen both back. Categorically, I don't think there's any dispute whatsoever in the St Johnstone goal that's chalked off. You could argue a bit of fortune, but it was almost a kind of volleyball, 2 arms. I've seen the slow motion it there, so it's never going to be allowed in football. That's the reason we have VAR, which is worked. The other side, again, I just feel it's the side that probably every one of us in this room will have a different take and a different view. The one thing I would say on the penalty it's given for St Johnstone is that we obviously do these briefings at the start of the season. We had a couple last season whereby we were told that it was such close proximity from the ball. Graham Carey I played with him. He's got an absolute wonder left foot, but he strikes the ball so well. And you look at it, I think Andy's maybe 2 yards away from him when the ball strikes him. So that was kind of my argument that, I don't think there's a possibility of him trying to get out the way. He tries to get his shoulder towards the ball. So I'm not going to sit here and critique and criticise. It's been given today, but I wouldn't be surprised if at another point over the course of the season that it's not. So that's a little bit of grey area that quite clearly comes with a handball.
What pleased you overall with the performance?
I thought we woke for a slumber. I thought we started slow in the game. So we had a similar situation against Dundee here where we lost. And our first home defeat of the season, and I never ever felt in the game that we started to get going. We did today. We were clinical when our opportunities came. We were still carving out opportunities throughout the 90 plus minutes, 95 minutes as it were. So there's loads to like, but overall I think we're 7 points better off than we were last season. So I try to look at the bigger picture. 7 points better off, being in a national semi-final, a lot of turnover of players, a lot of senior players that would be very much in my thoughts still in the treatment room. So I think there's a lot to like about the football club at this minute in time without getting carried away. But I think we've given ourselves a decent foundation, and I think we've shown that there's a lot of progression, not just today, but overall throughout the course of the season in this club and in this group of players.
Centre half, you're sort of down to bare bones, but Steve Seddon stepping up seemed to have a really good game for you in that left centre half.
Yeah, I've always been certain that he could play there. I wasn't necessarily thinking we would get to the stage of him playing there. I think obviously Liam Gordon coming out. Unfortunately, we lost Shane Blaney, not to injury, but for personal reasons. And then you start to look at the Paul McGinns and Stephen O'Donnell's and these guys that are injured. So for how we want to play and how we work towards playing every single day of our lives, it obviously gives you a little bit of a dilemma. But it doesn't after his performance today. I thought he was excellent. I thought he was really composed in the ball, and I thought he defended manfully. And he gave us a real balance to that kind of left side of the back three. So delighted for him, and he's the type of lad that's had to be patient, but ultimately the way he goes about his business every day, I'm not really surprised that he comes in and slots in. He'll tell you he'll play absolutely anywhere on the pitch to get a game, which is always a brilliant example for the young players that we have in the group.
Martin McClure seems to make progress every week, or assist and every week.
Yeah, we got him 90 minutes today. That was brilliant. There's been a bit of a joke with some of the senior guys, and we've all had it as young players. He's been cramping up a little bit. I think this is only his 4th senior game of football in the space of the last week, just over a week. So, 2 weeks. So it's a brilliant landmark for him to perform that way and to get through the 90 minutes. And I genuinely believe that he'll just go from strength to strength. If I can piggyback on it, there's something. I'd seen a statistic today that for those under 21 homegrown players, I know Marvin's not that, but again, you and Lennon, I need to keep banging the drum about that. We are by far and ahead of every other club in the top flight, which pleases me. So that's another thing on top of the 7 extra points we've got for last season in the semi-final. So I'll add that into the mix, not just Marvin, but these young players that are experiencing the trials and tribulations of senior football, but they're doing it very, very well at this point, and you can see their growth and their development.
Harry Payton the pitch at the end? I mean, how much more work can you do over the next fortnight with no games to try and get more of these guys back on it, or get closer to get back on the pitch?
That's what we're going to try and do. We've got one or two that get edging closer. So we take a bounce game on Tuesday with the intention of trying to get as many of the substitutes and the guys that didn't go on the part today, as well as the couple of guys that are coming back for the treatment table and getting closer to the grass. So that's the plan. But always try and use this time for us to try and grow and for me to continue to get my message across to the players, not just for fitness, not just for minutes on the pitch, but for us to try and become technically, tactically better than what we are. Because I think partners in the back, we are certainly not perfect at this point. I still think there's a lot of room for growth in this group of players. But with the turnaround of players and what we've had to deal with, I think we've put ourselves in a pretty decent position. But I'm without question over this next 2 weeks trying to drive that message of us improving and us now trying to get to 22 points, because that was my task today. Go and get yourself to 19 points. If you do, we all go in a positive mindset into this next international break.
Because with what your team's given you so far, you're 11 points with Rangers as we stand tonight. So, but you obviously believe that you're not content just with landmarks like that. It's the key.
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. That's always the belief, that's always the intention. Sometimes we come up short on things. It's certainly not a lack of that drive and determination to do so. But no, I think you're absolutely right. We probably find ourselves in a position round about the position in the league and the number of points of teams that we've maybe no right to compete with. But we don't see it that way. We're always going to try and see if we can push those boundaries. And fortunately at this point, the players are absolutely doing that. But it's all about that consistency and trying to continue that. Great, thanks very much. Enjoy your weekend.